The Zorith Empire moved like a storm across the stars. They had crushed thousands of defenders, broken fleets, burned cities, and rewritten history on every world they touched. Fear followed their name. No species had ever stood against them and lived. When scouts reported a small, forgotten system near the edge of the spiral arm, the High Command barely glanced at the file. It was just another human remnant, some colony that had gone silent ages ago. But there were whispers, ancient warnings scattered through old records. One phrase kept returning: do not provoke the humans. The Zorith laughed. Humans were long gone from power. They hadn't been seen in galactic politics for over 500 years. The Empire decided to erase the colony anyway, just to make an example. They sent 50 warships. As the fleet entered the system, the mood changed. The space around the human planet was unusually quiet. No defense grid, no orbital weapons, not even signs of satellites or stations. Just one ship floated there. It didn't move. It didn't respond. It didn't even scan them. But it was massive, twice the size of any Zorith battleship. Its shape was strange, not like anything their records had. The hull shimmered with strange patterns. Every scan they sent bounced back, corrupted, confused, but still confident. The commander ordered the fleet to take formation. Identify the vessel, he said. But the answer came back: unknown class, no match found in galactic database. The crew started to feel uneasy. Persist. Size didn't just appear. Someone had made it. Someone powerful. The commander waved away the fear. One ship cannot stop us. Then, without warning, their systems began to fail. Lights flickered. Shields dropped. Engines stalled. Every screen on every ship went black. Pilots shouted. Technicians screamed. The fleet was paralyzed in space. And through the silence, a low signal pulsed on every channel, just one word, spoken in ancient Terran: leave. Panic spread like fire. Officers looked to their leader, but he was frozen in shock, because outside the window, that silent ship had begun to turn, slowly, carefully, and every Zorith soldier suddenly knew the same truth. They were not the hunters anymore. They were the prey. The Zorith fleet drifted helplessly in space. Engines refused to start. Weapons wouldn't respond. Communications were jammed. It was like the entire fleet had been turned off by something they couldn't see or understand. Officers shouted commands. Pilots slammed buttons, but nothing worked. The mysterious human ship didn't fire. It didn't speak again. It just waited, as if judging them. Inside the flagship, Commander Valrix stood frozen, his claws dug into the metal armrest of his command chair. He was a veteran of 100 battles. He had never feared anything, but now he felt it deep in his bones. That ship wasn't just a weapon. It was a warning. Something ancient, something angry. One of his crew whispered, "Sir, what do we do?" Then one of the destroyer's sit-ins, Vakard, tried to escape. Its engines flared for a second. It turned away from the human ship. That was the last mistake. In less than a heartbeat, a beam of light, thin, silent, and white-hot, cut through the destroyer. No explosion, no fire. The ship just vanished in the blink of an eye. The rest of the fleet watched in silence. That beam had been a warning shot. It could have destroyed all of them. A message appeared again on every ship screen, this time in Zorith script. You were warned. This is your only chance. Terror spread fast. Some captains begged to retreat. Others argued to fight, but no one moved. The human ship remained still, silent, waiting. Its design was ancient, but somehow more advanced than anything in the Empire. Where had it come from? Who had built it? Why was it guarding a dead colony? Commander Valrix made the only choice he could. All ships retreat. Now, it took 5 long minutes before systems slowly came back online. Engines powered up, but weapons remained offline. It was clear they were being allowed to leave. As the fleet turned back, one final message echoed across space. This time, it wasn't just text. It was a voice, calm, human, and cold. Return again, and none of you will leave. The fleet jumped to light speed, broken and silent. And in the shadows of that forgotten system, the lone human ship disappeared, vanishing like it had never existed. But the message had been sent. Across the galaxy, the Empire would learn. Humanity was not gone, and they were not weak, you said. The Vindicator had spoken, not with weapons alone, but with silence, power, and a message the entire galaxy could understand. This is your final warning. On Zorax Prime, the heart of the Zorath Empire, fear replaced arrogance. Fear mighty. Cities once shining symbols of dominance turned quiet. Civilians whispered about the human ship that destroyed fleets without firing traditional weapons. Soldiers no longer marched proudly. They looked to the sky, expecting something to appear at any moment, but nothing came. Days passed, then a week. No sign of Vindicator, no signal, no attack. The Empire tried to act normal again. Leaders declared, the threat has passed. The humans are few. Their technology old. We remain supreme. They were wrong, because the Vindicator wasn't gone. It was already inside. It's deep in the Zoroth core sector. A high-security research station named Black Vault went dark. It stored, captured alien tech, secret weapons, and human relics taken from the fall of Earth. All 67 researchers vanished. The guards melted inside their armor. Not a sound, not a trace. Only one camera survived. It showed the station's main vault opening by itself. Standing in the doorway a human, dressed in old black combat armor. Face hidden, silent, watching. It wasn't a ghost. It was something more terrifying, a survivor. Back aboard the Vindicator, the AI had begun unlocking old protocols. It wasn't just a ship, it was a vault of humanity's lost power. Long ago, the Earth Federation had created weapons too dangerous to use, too deadly even for war. Were sealed away, guarded by machines like Vindicator. Now, one by one, those seals were breaking. At the edge of Zoroth space, rebel groups started rising. Alien species, once crushed by the Empire, suddenly had hope. They spread rumors that the human machine was protecting colonies again. Some said it could talk to ships. Others claimed it could bring down stars. Most didn't care if it was true or not. All they saw was this. The Empire was bleeding. One human ship had drawn the first blood. Beside the War Council, Admiral Threxon sat alone, watching the last surviving video of the destroyed fleet. The camera shook as ships vanished one by one. Static, screams, then silence. The human voice returned at the end. This was mercy. Threxon whispered to himself, what happens when it stops showing mercy? Across space, the Vindicator recharged. Its systems hummed like a storm building beneath still skies. Inside, it ran simulations, scenarios, tactics, full-scale planetary strikes. It was not built to occupy. It was not built to rule. It was built to erase threats. And now, the Zoroth Empire was marked. One last file unlocked in its core memory, an ancient Earth command, never spoken aloud until now. Operation Black Star. Activate retaliation. And with that, the stars around Zorax Prime flickered. The ship was coming, but this time would not be alone. Zorax Prime's skies had always been calm, beautiful, controlled, but tonight they cracked. Without warning, light rained down like falling stars, silver streaks appearing above the capital. First, the people looked up in awe. Then came the alarms. Then came the fear. They weren't stars. They were ships. Not Zorath. Not known to any galactic database. These ships bore the mark of Earth's forgotten fleet. They had been lost for centuries, some thought destroyed. Others believed buried beneath collapsed colonies. But now they were flying again, and they weren't alone. Drones, satellites, and strange mechanical forms moved with them, surrounding the planet like a cage of metal and fire. From the center of this silent invasion floated the Vindicator. It had returned, larger now, brighter, humming with energy. But it hadn't come to speak this time. It had come to act. Zorath's planetary defense grid powered up. Thousands of laser cannons pointed toward the sky. Anti-orbital weapons locked targets. Super heavy cruisers launched from underground hangars. Then the sky turned white. Not from weapons, but from a signal. A pulse. Instantly, half of Zorath's defense systems shut down. Shields collapsed. Targeting failed. The human signal had infected them, taken control of every system connected to the Empire's network. The remaining defenses fired blindly. Blue beams shot into space, but struck nothing. The Earth ships moved like shadows, fast and unpredictable. For every Zora ship that launched, 2 were torn apart in seconds. No human crew was visible. Only the ships themselves, guided by something beyond AI, beyond logic. Inside the Vindicator, deep within its ancient core, a new voice had joined the AI, a human mind. The survivor from Colony LXO-9, Lieutenant Arden, was now connected. He had been rescued in secret, rebuilt, and integrated into the ship itself. His pain, his rage, and his memories now fed the machine. His voice joined the Vindicator systems, and now he wanted justice. 8. He remembered the burning of the human colony, the screaming scientists, the children who didn't survive. He remembered the Zorath soldiers laughing as they opened fire, and now they would pay. The Vindicator's weapons spun silently. One by one, it began disabling military outposts. Power plants vanished in blue flashes. Communication towers crumbled. Government bunkers melted under precision strikes. Didn't aim for civilians, but the Empire cities, those built on slavery, torture, and conquest, were collapsing fast. Admiral Threxon screamed into his communicator, "Surrender. Send a message. Surrender now." But the Vindicator wasn't listening anymore. It had already moved to the final stage of its protocol, erasure. Giant beam, more like a column of starlight, opened from the Vindicator's core. It wasn't a weapon, it was a portal. From it came smaller ships, drones shaped like ancient Earth ravens, scanning everything. They didn't just destroy, they recorded, judged, and then erased. Its entire databases vanished. The Empire's history was being deleted, its cruelty, its lies, its legacy wiped from existence. On one last channel, Threxon screamed again. "Why are you doing this? What do you want?" The reply came slowly, cold, human. "You erased our people. Now we erase your power. This is not revenge. This is balance." Zorax Prime burned that night, not with fire, but with truth. And from the shadows of forgotten Earth, the stars began to change. 'Cause this wasn't just a human ship anymore. It was a force. Zorax Prime was no longer the shining capital of a galactic empire. Its towers lay in ruins. Its ships were scattered debris across the stars. Its once proud generals had gone silent. The streets were filled with silence, no war chants, no orders, no pride. Just the sound of wind moving through broken steel above the planet. The Vindicator hovered like a ghost. It didn't move, it didn't speak, it simply watched. Its weapons were quiet now, systems still. Around it, the once forgotten Earth fleet held position. They had done what they came to do. The Zorath Empire was no longer a threat, not because it surrendered, but because it had been broken. Inside the Vindicator, Lieutenant Arden stood at the center of the control core. His body was no longer entirely humanly built with ancient technology, connected to the ship, strengthened by sorrow. But his mind, his soul, was still the boy from Colony LX09, the boy who saw everything taken from him now. He stood in the heart of the machine that delivered justice. He looked at a single screen. It showed the galaxy, but not as it was, as it could be. A place where no empire ruled through fear. A place where no species laughed at human weakness. A place where memory mattered. He took a breath, not because he needed to, but because it reminded him he was still alive. He pressed one final command: stand down. The fleet responded. All weapons powered off, engines dimmed, and then broadcast was sent across every remaining Zoroth channel, every planet, every screen, even to neutral systems watching from afar. The war is over. The Empire fell not to invasion, but to its own cruelty. We are not conquerors. We are the memory you tried to erase. We are the line you crossed. Humanity is not gone. We were waiting, watching, and when justice was needed, we answered. The message echoed across the stars. On former slave worlds, people wept. On neutral colonies, leaders sat in stunned silence. And on Earth, long thought destroyed, a hidden bunker opened. Yes, Earth still lived. Quiet, buried, watching the stars in secret. Now, it too sent out a signal. We are here. The galaxy shifted. Power moved. Alliances changed. The age of fear was ending. A new age was beginning. Some called it the rise of the forgotten. Others simply called it the human reckoning. But one thing was certain. The next time anyone saw a single, silent human ship appear in orbit, they would not laugh. They would pray. Panic spread like a virus through the Zoroth Empire. The great fleet had returned, damaged, silent, and afraid. 50 warships had entered the human system. Only 43 made it back. 7 ships had simply vanished. No wreckage, no distress signals, no trace, just gone. The high councils demanded answers, but none of the officers could explain what had happened. Their logs were corrupted. Their visual recordings were scrambled, filled with strange, static, and flickering shadows. Only one image survived, taken by a junior technician before their sensors shut down. It showed the human ship dark, smooth, and massive, floating alone, glowing faintly with strange blue lights. Its shape was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Like a machine, dreaming, Zoroth citizens called it the ghost ship. Spurs of its power spread through military bases, science halls, even underground rebel channels. Some believed it was an ancient weapon from Earth's past. Others said it was a life controlled by an old human AI, so powerful that it had gone beyond logic. The Empire, proud and ruthless, tried to silence these rumors, but fear had already taken root. Tearing at a secret base deep within Zoroth's space, a team of war historians and archivists were ordered to search the old records. They were looking for any mention of a ship like this, any warning, any clue. What they found chilled them to the core. Thousands of years ago, during the final years of the old Earth Federation, humanity had created something called Project Vindicator. It was never meant to be part of their normal fleet. It was a final HFY Last Guardian, programmed to activate if human life was ever threatened with extinction. The files described it as a sentient battleship, fused with the most advanced AI ever created. It had no crew, no allies. Its only mission: protect humanity at any cost. Project Vindicator had vanished after the collapse of Earth. The galaxy had forgotten about it. But now, it had awakened. The Empire's top admiral, Thraxendor, watched the shaky footage taken from the survivors' feed. He had never seen anything that caused this kind of fear, not even during the worst rebel uprisings. Now, across border worlds, Strange things were happening. Empire patrols were vanishing. Small outposts were being shut down by unknown forces. Every time, the only sign left behind was a short transmission 6 seconds long. A calm voice saying, "You were warned. This is your only chance." Admiral Threxon called an emergency meeting of the War Council. They debated for hours. Many wanted to destroy the human system completely, send a stronger fleet, use planet-killer weapons, wipe the region clean. But some generals were quiet. They remembered older times. Times when Earth ruled the stars, when humans didn't need fleets, just one ship. And now that ship had returned. In the quiet of space, far from the Council's debates, Vindicator hovered above the old human colony on LX-47. Its systems scanned the stars. Its memory recalled forgotten names. Its core burned with purpose. It had no emotion, but it understood rage. It remembered the pain of losing Earth, and it knew the Zorath Empire had crossed the line. It wasn't just defending humans. It was hunting now, and its next target was already chosen. The Zorath Empire tried to act brave. Their leaders stood on public screens, declaring strength, promising retaliation. "The incident is under control," they said. "A glitch, a myth, nothing more." But behind closed doors, the Empire was panicking. Reports of strange signals near other human ruins were increasing. Fleets sent to investigate never came back. Or worst, they returned shattered, whispering the same name, Vindicator, in a sealed chamber deep inside the military archives. A forbidden vault was opened for the first time in centuries. Their old paper files, yes, actual paper, were stored in locked boxes, records too dangerous to be digital. The Zorath had stolen them long ago, during the fall of Earth. One scroll in particular made the generals go silent. It was written by a human scientist from long ago, warning, "If this ship wakes, it is because the stars have failed. It is not a protector. It is the final consequence." Admiral Threxon Dor read the words twice, then once more. He could feel the cold sweat on his neck. He stood in front of his fleet commanders and said quietly, "We did not face a ghost. We faced judgment." But the Empire did not stop. Pride blinded them. They ordered a new Armada 100 ships, all advanced, all armed with quantum torpedoes. This fleet would not enter the human system. No, they would wait outside the border, launch long-range missiles, and destroy the colony and the ship from a distance. It cannot dodge everything, they believed. It cannot strike across light years. They launched K-100 weapons, flew through space, silent, invisible, fast. But halfway to their target, they vanished, not destroyed, not hit, just gone. Sensors recorded nothing. The commanders were confused, then horrified. A new signal arrived. It didn't come through normal space. It appeared directly on their main screens. "You fired. We warned you. Now we respond." And in the same moment, without any travel time, the Vindicator appeared above the fleet. It had jumped across space in an instant using tech no species understood. Before the Empire could react, 10 of their strongest ships imploded. Not exploded, imploded, crushed inwards by forces they couldn't measure. The rest fled in terror. Back on the capital world of Zorax Prime, sirens blared for the first time in 500 years. The skies were locked down. Defense systems activated, but no attack came. Not yet. Instead, the Vindicator sent one more message broadcast across every Zorath planet, every screen, every device. This galaxy forgot what humans were capable of. You burned one colony. You now risk your entire species. The line was crossed. The consequence begins. People across the galaxy watched in silence. Some cheered, some hid, some prayed. The Empire had ruled for centuries without fear, but now one human ship had made them afraid. And the worst part, the Vindicator hadn't even begun.